Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all well and ready for today's handwriting. I'm going to start, like we normally do, every handwriting session, going back over the letters that we practiced last week. Last week, we practiced four letters. Can you remember the first letter that we practiced? I'm going to give you a clue. I'm going to say the patter for it, see if you remembered it. You take off, down and zoom over the moon, zoom over Mars and flick. That's right, it was the letter M. The letter M. Are you ready? You take off, you zoom down, you go over the moon and over Mars and you flick. You take off, you zoom down, you go over moon and over Mars and flick. Bit tricky that one, isn't it? Okay, you take off, you zoom over the moon and zoom over Mars and flick. What sound does the letter M make? Can you think of any words that begin with the sound Brilliant. The next letter that we practiced last week was the letter N. What sound does the letter N make? N. And how does a patter go? It's an easy one, this one. You take off, down and over the North Pole and flick. You take off, down and over the North Pole and flick. Are you ready? You take off, down, over the North Pole and flick. You take off, down, over the North Pole and flick. You take off, down, over the North Pole and flick. And do you know a word that begins with a N sound? Tell your grown-up. Good. Let's move on to the third letter that we practiced last week. It's a very, very easy one, this one. It's got a really good patter. You take off and I into the net. You take off and down and I into the net. Are you ready? Hope you can see that. You take off, down the I and into the net. You take off and I into the net. You take off, down, and I into the net. All these letters so far are resting on the line. The final letter that we did last week was the letter J. And I said to you last week that J does not rest on the line unless it's a capital. The letter J is what we call a descender. It descends beyond the line that we're writing on. So, hope you can see. The patter for the letter J goes like this. Take off, down the jellyfish, flick and dot for the I. Are you ready? Hope you can see that. You take, move back a bit more. I want you to make sure that you can see it. You take off, down the jellyfish, flick and dot for the I. You take off, down the jellyfish, flick and a dot for the I. You take off, down the jellyfish, flick and a dot for the I. You take off, down the jellyfish, flick and I. So the letter I and the letter J have a dot at the top. These are all lowercase letters, children. They will all have a capital letter as well. But we are practicing our lowercase letters that we often find in words, unless, of course, it's at the start of a new sentence or it's a special word or a name. Then it begins with a capital letter. What sound does the letter J make? J, J. Can you think of other words other than jellyfish that begin with the J sound? Tell your grown-up. Well done. So let's go through these letters again that we've practiced last week. The letter M that makes a M sound. the letter N that makes the N sound, and the letter I that makes a it sound, and the letter J that makes the sound J. Good. Now we're going to move on to today's letters. So I'm just going to put another sheet of paper, which we need now. Let's pull that one apart. Okay, so today we are practicing 4 more letters. Now these letters are all descenders. They are letters that when you write them in lowercase, they descend, they come down beyond the line that most of our letters sit. Part of the letter will sit on the line, but only a part of it. The rest of it will descend. So the first descender is the letter G. The letter G. What sound does the letter G make? The letter G. Here it is. The letter G makes a sound G. G. Do you know of any words with a G sound? I bet you do. Lots. So, the pattern for this is a long one. You take off, you fly around the green grapes, up, down and under the purple grapes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with this first. So, I'll put this at the top over here. You ready? You take off, you fly around the green grapes, up, and you fly under the purple grapes. Okay, let's just make sure we've got that right. You take off, you fly around the green grapes, up, down and under the purple grapes. You take off, you fly around the green grapes, up, down and under the purple grapes. So imagine that your green grapes are here and your purple grapes are there. You take off, you fly around the green grapes, up, down and under the green grapes, under the purple grapes. Sorry, better do that again. You take off, you fly around the green grapes, up, down and under the purple grapes. You take off, you fly around the green grapes, up, down and under the purple grapes. You take off, you fly around the green grapes, up, down and under the purple grapes. So that letter G, lowercase g, it's that bit, that's the fat bit that rests on the line. The rest of it descends, so it's a bit tricky. The next descender that we're going to learn is the letter P. The letter P. Now, I don't have a P like that, but I'm going to show you here. The letter P, what sound does P make? P, P. Any words that begin with P in? Tell you grown up. I can think of peg. I can think of penguin. I can think of pen. Lots of them. So the pattern for the letter P is you take off, down Pretty Polly, up and around Pretty Polly. You take off, down Pretty Polly, up and around Pretty Polly. You take off, down Pretty Polly, up and around Pretty Polly. You take off, down Pretty Polly, up and around Pretty Polly. You take off, down Pretty Polly and up round Pretty Polly. Do that one more time. I think I confused you. You take off, down Pretty Polly, up Pretty Polly and around Pretty Polly. And once again, only part of the letter P like the letter G, rests on the line. The other part descends all the way down. So that is a letter P that makes a P sound. The next descender is the letter Q. The letter Q. What sound does a letter Q make? That's right, Qu. Oh, the word queen begins with Qu. The word quick begins with Qu. So, how do we write the letter Q? Well, the patter for Q is take off, fly around the Queen's necklace, up, down and flick. And I'm going to show you that. You take off, you fly around the Queen's necklace, up and down and flick. Okay? That was a bit tricky to show you there. I better show you over here, I think. So, the letter Q, I hope you can all see that. It is, you take off, you fly around the Queen's necklace, up, down and flick. You take off, you fly around the Queen's necklace, up, down and flick. You take off, you fly around the Queen's necklace, up, down and flick. You take off, you fly around the Queen's necklace, up, down and flick. And that is a letter Q. And once again, this rests on the line, So, the final letter that we're going to do today, and I hope you can see this because I'm going to have to move it back a bit now, is I'm going to just move this a bit further up because I think you might be struggling to see this one. Okay, hope you can see that. It's the letter Y, children. We're going to do the letter Y. The letter Y. So, what sound does a letter Y make? What sound does a letter Y make? Yeah, yeah. So the pattern for the letter Y is you take off, down like a yo-yo, up like a yo-yo, swing like a yo-yo. Are you ready? You take off, down like a yo-yo, up like a yo-yo, swing like a yo-yo. So let's do that properly, shall we? Are you ready? You take off, fly down. Oh, let's make sure that we're right. Yeah, you take off, down like a yo-yo, up like a yo-yo, swing like a yo-yo. That's quite easy, isn't it? You ready for the next one? You take off, down like a yo-yo, up like a yo-yo, and swing like a yo-yo. You take off, down like a yo-yo, up like a yo-yo, swing like a yo-yo. And do it one more time. You take off, down like a yo-yo, up like a yo-yo, swing like a yo-yo. And that is the letter Y that makes the Y sound. I'm thinking of the word yellow, yellow. I'm thinking of the tricky word you, Y-O-U. I'm thinking of the word yell, Y-E-L-L, yell. Lots of words that begin with the Y sound. Well, that was today's handwriting. So today we learned 4 letters. We learned to write the letter G, P, Q and Y. All these letters are special because they all belong to one family because they're what we call descenders. When we write them in as lowercase, part of them falls below the line. Okay, and when you come back to school, hopefully very soon, we're going to practice more of work around our ascenders and our descenders. Thank you so much for listening. What I'd like you to do is to practice writing all the letters I've shown you today, and your grown-ups can help you because your grown-ups can pause the video while you write the first letter, then they can restart the video. You can watch how I write the second letter and then you practice and carry on. To help you, I have also attached what I attached last week, some Flying with Phonic videos that show you in a video each of these letters. And as usual, I'm going to give you a list of words that I would like you to write in your best handwriting. Please, please do not forget how to form all the letters that we've been doing the last few weeks. We're nearly at the end, children, of doing all of them. Fantastic. Remember, grown-ups, your child must be sitting on a chair at a table with lined paper. If you can't get lined paper, you can have a blank piece of paper and you can draw some lines for them. Well done, everybody. You've listened beautifully. I hope you've enjoyed today's handwriting lesson and I look forward to receiving all your wonderful work. Take care. See you soon. Bye.